A top New York Jets draft target who a lot of fans were concerned about what his 40 time would look like did ultimately run at his pro day and he killed it. How does this affect the Jets strategy with the 7th overall pick? Plus, T. Higgins gets a bag. Derek Stingley gets a bag. What will the extensions look like for Garrett Wilson, and Sauce Gardner? All of that and much more coming up here on a Monday edition of NY Flight Jets Talk.
Jets, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today?
ESPN writer, Mr. Rich Samini, Jets reporter for The Athletic, Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer, and Jets legend, Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Law.
What is going on, everyone? Hello and welcome back here into another edition of NY Flight Jets Talk. Comes to you here on Monday, March 17th, 2025. Can't thank you guys enough for tuning in here on the program. Make sure you smash that like button and you are subscribed to the channel. That's the free way to support the show. It helps us grow significantly. Well, one might ask, what's the paid way to help us grow here? We'll throw the ticker in down below. You can get into our membership raffle. Every $2.99 super chat or every gifted membership will get you a ticket into our raffle. The prizes we're giving away this month include a Wayne Corbett signed jersey, a Darrelle Revis signed photo, an Altoon signed photo, Keyshawn Johnson signed photo, Jericho Cotchery signed photo, a free item from our merch store, and a channel emoji. The leaderboard is on down below. Getting on that if you haven't already. Paid way to help us go the free way, though. Like, share, and subscribe. Next Gen Jets we did yesterday, our second ever edition of that with Jack Cotter and Chris Grasso. That's going to be a weekly series here on the show, and you guys seem to be loving it. So I'm super, super happy about that. I can't thank you enough for all your support here on the program. If you ever have any advice you want to see on the show, throw it in the chat. We always take it into consideration, so I appreciate it as like I said, I appreciate your support as always. Any questions today, throw them in the chat. You can call into the show with the pinned comment at the top of the chat. I know what most of you guys are probably thinking. Mondays, Nick Faria Mondays. Is that what we're going to call him moving forward? Unfortunately, Nick could not join us today. He is ill, so hopefully Nick feels better, but he'll be back with us next week, Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in his weekly spot. But I appreciate you guys. As always, let's get into the main topic, really, overall of today's video. And it's something that, I'm going to be honest, it did surprise me a little bit because Tet McMillan, someone, if you've been watching the show, you guys know I'm super, super high on him. And a lot of people were until came to the combine that was revealed. He will most likely, this was at the combine, remember, it was revealed at the combine. He was not going to run his 40 at the combine, and he would most likely not run it at his pro day. That was the main concern. Everyone else, the people who liked Tet, they weren't affected by it. I don't think anyone should have been affected by it. If you didn't like Tet before the news came out, great. Don't like Tet. It shouldn't sway your opinion one way or another, is the way I viewed that news. What I viewed Tet is, when that came out, is great. Why would he run the 40? What benefit does he have out of that? It's only going to hurt him if he goes out there and he embarrasses himself. I had the utmost confidence in Tet, and I really, really, really like him because of his contested catchability, his huge catch radius, and his expanded route tree. That's why I like Tet McMillan. I think he's the best wide receiver in this year's class. And he's my number one option right now for the New York Jets to draft with the 7th overall pick. For those who were skeptical about Tet's speed and said, the reason I'm going to avoid Tet McMillan, the reason I will never draft him, and he's going to be a bust if the Jets draft him, is because he's slow. He's slow. All that, well, ladies and gentlemen, I have something to show you. Comes by way of great NFL insider Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports. The rumors were Tet was not going to run at his pro day. Well, he must have been feeling really, really good about himself today, the fact that he ran at his pro day. He ran a 4.48. Now, I'm not going to celebrate this like this is some insane 40-yard dash time, because it's not. But for Tet McMillan, people were saying the reason he wasn't going to run is because they thought his 40 could clock in the 4.7 range. We saw this from Jordan Schultz, 4.48. We saw some, I think the slowest one I saw today from all the different insiders was from Jordan Reed, and I think he said 4.56, which is still in the green zone for Tet. Where you get in the danger zone is when you start running the mid to late 4.6s, early 4.7s. That's where you get in the danger zone for a wide receiver. So I'm really, really liking Tet even more now. I liked him a lot before this, but the fact that he went out and he ran a 4.48, in my eyes, I think is really, really important. Because yes, I was thinking to myself, what benefit does Ted have of running the 40? But now, I'm all on board. I'm all on board. I'm happy he ran the 40. He gets to prove to teams now, you can't call me slow. What are you going to call me now? A big-bodied receiver who has a serviceable amount of speed. That's who Ted McMillan is. And I think he's a top option for this team at 7, especially given the fact that you look at the Jets wide receiver room, you see Garrett Wilson, you see Alan Lazard, who might not even be on the roster. You see Xavier Gibson, freaking Tyler Johnson, all these different names. The Jets need a wide receiver too. Why can't Ted McMillan be that guy? I know there are a lot of other names. After today, here's my thing. After today, I don't even know if he's going to be there at 7, if I'm being completely honest. Let's look at the trajectory from the beginning of the pre-draft process. So right after the college football season, and probably starting, he wasn't at the Senior Bowl, but starting in Mobile. So mid to end of January. Let's look where that was. Ted McMillan was constantly being mocked to teams in the top 5. Like, I was in so many mock drafts where he didn't even make it to pick 7. We saw some to the Patriots, which is now, I'm going to say, another realistic possibility, given the fact that the Patriots, we all thought Patriots were going offensive line in this year's class. Well, I'm going to take that back, because the Patriots, they have so many holes, they can go anywhere. They can literally go anywhere in this year's draft. They have so many freaking holes. But now that they added a few offensive line bodies in free agency, and they really did not add any pass catchers other than Matt Collins, they still need a pass catcher number 1 for Drake London. Maybe Tet's the guy for them at 4. Jaguars, another team. Well, they have BTJ, actually, so I did. Not the Jaguars. I meant the Raiders. They don't want to take a quarterback this year. They want to wait till one of the later rounds. Tet's their guy at 6. I think there is a shot that Ted McMillan might not even be there at 7. That was what it was like before the combine. Then it comes out that he's not running at the combine, and people were saying he's not even going to be a top 25 pick. Now I haven't even checked the boards, but I assume he's right back up there. If he's there at 7, I think the Jets have to take him. I know there are a lot of talks about Tyler Warren or Ted McMillan. I'm taking Ted McMillan. You need the guy who can line up on the outside of Garrett Wilson and dominate. I take that over Tyler Warren. Also, not to mention the tight end class, is insanely deep. I take wide receiver 2, just pure positional value. I take legit wide receiver 2 at pick 7 before I do tight end. Overall, just flat out positional value. Not to mention this tight end class is so deep this year. It is so deep. You can even look at a guy like an Elijah Arroyo with the 73rd overall pick. Harold Fannin. Even some, like Oronde Gadsden had a great pro day. There are so many guys in the later rounds that you can take, and the overall value for a tight end is better there. I'm taking a tight end 2. And don't get me wrong, if you've been listening to the show, you know how much I love Tyler Warren. I love Tyler Warren, and I would not be disappointed with the Jets taking him at pick 7. But I think you just take the wide receiver 2 before you take the inline blocking tight end. Especially in a class where you have a ton of tight ends who are draftable. I've seen some big boards where they have freaking 10 tight ends with round 1 through 4 grades. Gunnar Helm, Elijah Arroyo, Harold Fannin, Mitchell Evans. I mean, Jackson Hawes, even if you want to just go flat run block on one of the later rounds. So many different names. Colston Loveland. There are so many different names. Plus, I think a lot of people forgetting Tyler Conklin, is still out on the open market. Stone Smart, we don't know what he is. You could sell me on a tight end room. Here's what I'd rather. I'd rather have a tight end room composed of Tyler Conklin, Stone Smart, and we'll throw Harold Fannin in there. I would much rather have a wide receiver room with Garrett Wilson, Ted McMillan leading the way over that tight end room. That makes sense. I would rather have the legit wide receiver 2 over the elite over the legit tight end. That makes sense. It just comes down to overall positional value for me. Tet right now is my first option at pick 7. Unless Cam Ward falls, I just don't see a better option. Unless Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, one of those guys fall. Realistically speaking, Tetairoa McMillan is my number one choice for the Jets with the 7th overall pick. You get the best value, and he's a great, legit elite wide receiver, whatever you want to call him. 6'5", 212 pounds, is going to be that guy. Remember what the Jets were all hoping Mike Williams was going to be when the Jets signed him last offseason? Oh, the big body guy to play outside Garrett Wilson, open up all these holes for him. So Tet McMillan is, except he's 12 years younger or something crazy like that. Tet McMillan reminds me a lot of T. Higgins. We heard a lot of comps of Drake London, but a better athlete. I'm telling you guys, Tet McMillan is going to be a really, really solid wide receiver in this league. And he's not only he's my number one option at pick 7, but he's not even the only wide receiver I would consider at 7. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, he's a good receiver, but come on, this is Rich. I'm telling you guys, ideally, I would prefer this in a trade back scenario. I wouldn't hate Emeka Egbuka with the 7th overall pick if a lot of the elite guys are off the board. When I say elite, I mean Tet, Graham, Carter, Hunter, the names we assume are going to be off the board. That's what I mean by, the elite guys. I would not hate Emeka Egbuka at pick 7. However, one of the main reasons I have Tet higher than him on my board for the Jets is because I think similar to if you put similar to if you put Mason Graham next to Quinn Williams, their skill sets are too similar. I would take another Garrett Wilson in a heartbeat, but Emeka Egbuka to me is like Garrett Wilson. I would prefer the complement of Tet McMillan, the complement to Garrett Wilson, the big-bodied guy who's going to get you the contested catches, 60% contested catch rate last season, by the way. I would take that over than doubling up on a 6', 200-pound speedster. But hey, you could sell me on Emeka Egbuka at 7. An elite, just pure natural route runner, great athlete, able to find his way, weave through traffic. I really, really like Egbuka. Those are the 2 wide receivers you could sell me on at 7. If I had to put a top 3 together right now of the realistic names I think the Jets should target at pick 7, goes like this. Tet McMillan, number 1. Tyler Warren, number 2. And it's tough to say. I'd probably put Mike Green at number 3 right now. Because if you look at, you guys probably understand Tet and Egbuka. You might be a little surprised there by Tet and Warren, excuse me. You might be a little surprised there by Mike Green, but let's look at the Jets' edge rushers right now. I know the talk of the town right now is you got to beef up the interior line. You got to beef up, get a big fatty in the middle, which the Jets need that. And I think Derek Nandi is going to help fill that gap. However, I don't think the Jets should just stop there. But the main point here is Will McDonald is a great pass rusher. Don't get me wrong. And he's coming off an incredible season after he didn't get an opportunity during his rookie year. Still struggled mightily against the run last season and seems to be like a 3rd down pass rush guy. That's what he's shown us throughout his career. I hope he's more than that, but that's what he's shown us. Jermaine Johnson got off to a great start to the 2024 season. Great 2023 year. Boom. Achilles injury out during week 2. You hope that Jermaine can come back and be a great player. The problem is, with an Achilles injury, there is no guarantee with that whatsoever. No guarantee. With Mike Green, you get someone who is an elite pass rusher, very, very explosive off the edge, coupled with a great run stuffer. You get 2-1, so hey, maybe Jermaine Johnson. Again, Mike Green ideally in a trade down, but he's one of the guys I wouldn't hate at pick 7. Wouldn't hate him at pick 7. Maybe Jermaine struggles a little bit to start the season. Put Mike Green in there, see what he has. Really, really like Mike Green. Watching him reminded me a lot of Bryce Huff with the Jets in 2023. 2024, excuse me, I meant. But yeah, I'm super, super high on Mike Green out of Marshall. Those are my 3 main guys right now at pick 7. So Those guys I'm looking at. Appreciate you all tuning in. Smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Any questions, throw them in the chat. Call into the show, pin comment at the top of the chat. Get into our membership raffle by every $2.99 super chat or every gifted membership. Keep the questions flowing. We'll get to those. But before we dive into the questions, I got to start with the Derek Stingley, the T. Higgins news. I mean, hey, props to the freaking Bengals for getting this done. And props to our guy Jordan Schultz, who, Jordan Schultz might be on NY Flight Jets Talk soon. Wink, wink. Cooking up something with Mr. Schultz here. Jordan Schultz gets the scoop directly from T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Chase, 4 years, $161, $112 million guaranteed, making the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. T. Higgins gets 4 years, $115 million, the first 2 years guaranteed, making him the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history. This doesn't. So I'll start with the Jamar one. Congrats to Jamar. This doesn't affect the Jets at all. The flip side, the T. Higgins one affects the Jets because Garrett Wilson has been more productive than T. Higgins. That's not to say anything about T. Higgins' talent. I love T. Higgins. He's one of my favorite wide receivers in the league. It's just playing behind Jamar Chase is very, very tough to get targets from. Also, when you have an elite pass-catching tight end like Mike Gesicki on your roster, too. T. Higgins is a stout wide receiver, too. He's gotten tagged the past 2 years. Actually, I don't know if we couldn't even count this year because he just got paid. But he got tagged last offseason. Was supposed to get tagged this offseason again for the second year in a row. But now he gets paid 4 years, $115 million. I think Garrett Wilson's contract is going to be the exact same as this or an Amon-Ra St. Brown type deal. After this, I think Garrett Wilson is going to command around 4 years, $125. I think what he's going to say is, look at what T. Higgins did with Joe Burrow as his quarterback, putting up less numbers than I did. I'm talking in Garrett's perspective, obviously. Put up less numbers than I did, playing with Joe Burrow as his quarterback. Plus, I've bounced around. I've been quarterback-proof, 1,000-yard seasons my entire NFL career. Played with 7, 8 different quarterbacks. He's going to command Amon-Ra St. Brown money, 4 for $120, 4 for $125. He's going to get more than T. I could say that right now. I'm going to say that right now. He's going to get more than T. And hey, I think it's worth it. You have to do everything you can to retain your young talent and retain your young core. Garrett Wilson is someone who I understand wasn't drafted by this regime, but Darren Muji made it clear at his intro press conference at the combine that he's going to want to do his best to retain good young football players, and that is who Garrett Wilson is. Jets have to keep him. He asked 4 for $125, you pay him. He's worth it for me. He asked 4 for $125, you pay him. I mean, that's not the only guy who is affected when it comes to what his contract potentially look like. And what I want to say here before we even get to the next player that affects another Jets contract extension, you see these teams going out and you see them resetting the market. Why can't the Jets ever do that? Why couldn't the Jets have been the team to pay Garrett Wilson at the start of the offseason and then reset the market for a guy like T. Higgins? I feel like the Jets are always sitting around waiting for the market to be reset, and then they go ahead and they pull the trigger. It would be nice to see the Jets one time. How about they are the team who goes out, they're aggressive, and they reset the market? How about that? That would be good for a change, huh? That's what T. Higgins' contract extension looks like. That's how I think it affects Garrett Wilson. On the flip side, Derek Stingley got paid. Texas paid him. Texans and Stingley agreed to a 3-year, $90 million extension, including $89 million guaranteed. So almost fully guaranteed at $30 million base value per year. Stingley's now the highest paid defensive back in NFL history. The cornerback market has been completely reset. Stingley is someone who was drafted same draft as Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner is someone who's been a 2-time All-Pro, coming off which some describe as a down year, but still played like a top 5, top 7 cornerback in this league. Now, Derek Stingley comes out, he gets 3 years, $90 million guaranteed. I think Sauce Gardner's the guy to potentially try to give the Jets some sort of hometown discount. How much, I don't know. That's the question. Sauce Gardner has made it abundantly clear he wants to be a New York Jet for life, but how much of the discount is he really willing to give the Jets? I think Sauce and Garrett could agree to the exact same extension, which is hilarious. Again, I could see Sauce getting 4 for 120. Garrett in that 4 for 120, 4 for 125 range. You're going to have to pay these guys top dollar. Because these two moves, not so much the Higgins one, but this especially for Stingley, reset the entire cornerback market. T didn't because you had the Jefferson one, crazy did. Well, if you want to stick with wide receiver, not elite like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase level, but even Amon-Ra St. Brown, he got the 4 for 120. Waddle got 3 for 75 a few years ago, which has been completely reset. This is huge for Sauce Gardner. He's going to see this. He's going to say, I'm a 2-time first-team All-Pro. I want to be here. How do we get it done? It's going to cost you 4 years, over $100 million, I think, if you want to bring back Sauce Gardner. It is going to cost you a lot of money, but I think you have to do it. Where are you guys? Do you want to re-sign Garrett? Do you want to re-sign Sauce? I just don't see a reason why. I'm tired of seeing our guys who you draft and develop in the first round have success and you let them walk. I think you got to pay both of them. I think what's going to happen with this class is you pay, if I had to make a prediction right now, you pay them next offseason. You see what Jermaine does off an Achilles injury. I think Breece is gone no matter what, though. I think you get as much as you can out of Breece this year and he walks. I think that's what's going to happen with Breece. That's my stance overall 2022 draft class. Let me know what you guys have to say in the chat. Smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Keep the questions coming. I'll get to those. Call into the show with the pinned comment at the top of the chat. Let's start things off here with our guy Snowball. Jets Worldwide comes in. By the way, Chris, Jack, and I, along with Boy Green, will be on with Snowball on Friday. We'll be with Snowball and Johnny Boy, so come check us out. Snowball says, who will Fields use more, Tet or Warren? In which way? As a pass catcher? Who will be more reliable as a blocker? I think he would use Warren more because Warren is a Swiss Army knife type guy on offense. That doesn't mean he's the right pick at 7. I go wide receiver 2. Elite wide receiver 2 over a tight end 1 in a really deep tight end class. That's the way I view it. M. Haddad in the building. Appreciate you tuning in as always. Comes in, says, would you take Tyler Warren over Membo? I would. Armand Membu's a great player, had a great combine. Positional value again there. The Jets have forfeit to their offensive line in place. You can address right tackle by signing another guy in free agency, like a Kendall Lamb is someone I'm really high on. Jedrick Wills is the name I'm not too high on, but his name's been floating around. And you've been watching the show, guys. You know Ozzie Trapillo from Boston College in the 3rd round's my guy. You can address it in the later rounds. I don't want to go tackle in round 1. And Warren's my number 2 option at 7. So yeah, I would take him over Membo 1000%. Snowball comes back in. How far can we drop back? Drop and still pick up Tet, Warren, or Green? You can't trade back for Tet or Warren. Green, probably top 15, the latest, I think. Can't trade back if you want to have Tet or Warren. Green, you could probably trade back to the 15 or 18 range. Teresa in the building comes in, says, do you think it's a good idea to sign Chris Boyd? Hey, Teresa, provide special teams value. Didn't pay him a ton of money, 1-year flyer. I always say, what's the worst thing that could happen on a cheap 1-year flyer? Maybe gives you some special teams value. Maybe he's the next Justin Hardy for this team. Who knows? Don't hate it at all, though. I will never get mad at the cheap 1-year deal for this team, Teresa, unless you're putting too much of a workload on the guy's shoulders, which won't happen with Chris Boyd because he doesn't even play defense. He's a pure special teams guy. And my dad comes in and says, do you think they pay Sauce this year or next year? I think they wait till next year. I think if they were going to pay him this year, they would have done it already. I think they would have done it at the beginning of the offseason if they were going to pay. If they were going to pay these guys this year, I think they would have done it this offseason. Paul comes in. Appreciate you tuning in. Kind of run off your top 10 picks in the NFL draft. Are you saying what I think will happen or what should happen? Clarify in the chat here, Paul, and I'll do it. You said run off your You're still in the chat to say run off your top 10 picks in the draft. Let me know. Do you want me to do what should happen or what will happen? Let me know and I'll do it. Appreciate you as always, Paul. Jimmy comes in and says, you letting AVT walk too? So here's the thing. I like AVT. Depends how he looks this season. I want to pay him, though. Generally speaking, now I would want to pay him. Question is, what does that look like? I still want to see one more fully healthy season. One more fully healthy season and see what he has. That's what I'm waiting to see out of AVT before I pay him. But he has the talent to be a top guard in this league. And I really like his flexibility you have with him where you could plug and play. Plays every position except center. Plays 4 fifths of the offensive line. I really like that flexibility. I think it's super important. And when he's healthy, he's an all-pro guard. David, I think there's a better chance the Jets make a long-term commitment Garrett Wilson this year than Sauce. I think Sauce is going to have to win over AG and company as a tackler and physical cornerback. Great point. I see that 1,000%. I think Garrett will get paid first too. I think they're both gonna get paid at the top and I think they're both gonna pay at the same offseason. I think they're both gonna get paid. I don't think neither one's gonna happen this offseason though, if I had to make a prediction. Kaden says I hope Bruce goes off. This time it didn't look good last season though. Kaden, he was dealing with knee injuries and stuff. Again, I don't think they're gonna pay him. I don't particularly want to give him a long-term deal as a running back. Love Reese, though, have his jersey signature on this helmet right here. I just don't think they won't. I just don't think they're going to pay him. It's going to be the same thing the Jets do with a lot of the first-round running backs. Boom, 4 years, get him out of here. I think that's what's going to happen. And then one more thing, here on David's comment, I just think they're going to pay him in the same offseason. I can understand where you're coming from, though, 1,000%. The fact that Garrett, I've said it before. Garrett, right now, is the only one I have the utmost confidence in extending. It's like Sauce has to show me he can come back after a down season. Garrett's been steady Eddie with any quarterback. Sauce, I still want to see one more really, really solid season before I make him the highest paid cornerback in all of football. Caden says, you think Braylon Allen could be the next Jonathan Taylor? I have to see. We didn't see anything out of him last season. Barely got any opportunities. One more year. I mean, I think he has the potential to look really, really solid with Fields. So I got to wait and see one more season. Let's go back to Paul's comments. What do you think will happen? All right, this is what I think will happen. Titans and Browns are the 2 hardest picks. I think the Titans are going to take Abdul Carter. I think the Browns are going to take Cam Ward. I think the Giants are going to take Shadur Sanders. I think the Patriots are going to take Armand Membu. I think the Jaguars are going to take Mason Graham. I think the Raiders are going to take Ted McMillan. I think the Jets are going to take Tyler Warren. I think I just want to confirm the Panthers are up next. Just went back to share screen. I just want to confirm before I start rattling off nonsense here. I just want to confirm the Panthers are up next here. Panthers are up next at 8. What are they gonna do? Panthers are tough because that's another team. They have a lot of holes. They could go maybe Ibuka. I think that I don't know if they'd want to take Ibuka though that high because they do need some wide receiver help. Who else could they take? Will Johnson, maybe that could be a sneaky option. They need some help in their secondary. Will Johnson at 8. Now 9, the Saints. I was going to say they were going to take Tyler Warren. The problem is Tyler Warren's now off the board. Kenneth Grant, maybe. They need some interior run stuffing help. And then 10, the Bears. Sneaky pick here. Ashton Genty. Look out. They need a running back. Super, super explosive back in Ashton Genty. I think Ashton Genty to the Bears is a legit possibility. That was my prediction. Rough prediction right now. Jets worldwide. If Sauce had another great year, do you think he'd get his bag now? If he had, that's tough to say. Because it's not that he didn't have a great year. Snowball. He just wasn't a first-team All-Pro. That's the thing. He didn't live up to that same hype that he showcased his first 2 years in the league. I think so. And if he kept his mouth shut on social media, yes. If he had Garrett's off-field attitude when it comes to Sauce, is a great guy. Don't get me wrong, but the social media stuff, I could see that driving AG freaking crazy. And let's say this, without the social media stuff, and he went All Pro this season, I think he would have gotten paid. I think that's what it comes down to. Joe says, Connor, give me your top 5 picks you want at 7 in order. What would you hope to trade down and still get in the top 12? For the trade down, I would love to trade down and still get in the top 12. You could recoup some more picks. Problem is you need a trade partner. I don't know who's coming up at pick 7. I don't. So in order, we did the top 3. So it was Tet at number 1, Warren at number 2, Ibuka at Tet 1, Warren 2, Mike Green at number 3. 4. And I'm doing realistic here. I'm not going to pick Mason Graham because I think he's going to be off the board. Those are my top 3. At 4, I would probably put another edge rusher, James Pierce. I just think pass rushing is a huge need. 5, I'll throw Kenneth Grant in 5. Actually, I'll switch those. Kenneth Grant at 4, James Pierce at 5. That's what I do. I think Kenneth Grant is a perfect complement and a perfect scheme fit next to Quinnen Williams. I'm a huge fan of potentially trying to go that route. Appreciate you all tuning in and listen to Indie Jets is the best. Appreciate you tuning in, Indy. 35 of you in the building, 27 likes. Hit the like, guys. Hit subscribe. Completely free. Helps us grow significantly here on the program. Gonna wrap up here soon on NY Flight Jets Talk. So any final questions, comments, thoughts, get them in here before we wrap up. Hey, just stay tuned here on the channel. You know the drill. Every night, 8 p.m. EST, especially during the week. Weekends, the shows fluctuate depending on times. Next Gen Jets, obviously on Sundays. We have some fun plans cooking up with that show, so stay tuned. That's obviously on Sundays. Saturday, the show time fluctuates, but I can guarantee you every single weekday we will be here at 8 p.m. So I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys checking in here on the show as always. You guys are the best. Can't thank you enough for all your support. Like I said, last chance to get your final questions, comments, thoughts in here. Any advice you want to see on the show? Hey, just throw it in the chat. We always take it into consideration. Just know that. I don't know why I'm saying we. I always take that into consideration. It's a one-person show here on NY Flight Jets Talk, so I always take those into consideration. And the sense of trying to make the show better. I want to hear what you guys want to see on the show. That's a big component of the show because, like you see, reading the questions off in the chat and everything, the show's about you guys. So whatever you guys want to see, we'll do our best to make it happen. That's the goal. So I appreciate you guys as always. It's gonna do it for me here tonight on this Monday evening. Back tomorrow, 8 p.m. Gunny Gumby, New York Jets situation report, and his weekly spot. But for now, I'm your host, Connor Long, signing off. JTS Jets.